Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Labros, I'm the TME for Multicast, working for MIG group at Cisco. Together we'll go over the Tree-SID demo that can be found in xrdocs.io/multicast/tutorials. This demo is defining the basic knowledge for Tree-SID, and for this demo we're going to use 6 routers. In this case all of them are NCS devices running iOS XR 7.3.2 and newer, and we have one root R1 and 2 receivers R5 and R6. In the xrdocs article you can see all the details, you can find the configuration, you can see parts of the configuration, and you can see all the interfaces connected between the routers. Now let's jump on the routers itself, and we're gonna start with the root, the R1. What we want to see here is the configuration of the VRFs, because if you see here, there are 2 VRFs configured, one red and one blue, point to multi-point transport with IGP metrics, with the affinity constraint of red and blue. And you can see the path of the blue and the path of the red. Okay, so first command. So run multicast routing VRF red. This command shows the VRF red configured under the multicast configuration. It is IPv4, enable all interfaces, and we have enabled extra BGP auto discovery for the segment routing. Here we can see 2 MDTs, one default, one data, and both of them are color 10. Color 10 is for the red. Also, the VRF red has segment routing traffic engineer configuration, and we can see that here, and we can see the affinity constraint of the red and the IGP metric. Also, we can see that for the blue VRF, the only difference is the name, the blue, and the 20 instead of 10, again IGP metric. Next step is to see the BGP VRF configuration for the red MVPN. Here we can see the route types, and we have route types 1, and these are the types that we discovering the PEs. It's the R1, R5, R6. We have R3. We have a route type 3, 4, and 7, and 7 is for the multicast flow. We can see the source and the group. Next command in the list is the same command for the blue MVPN. So similarly, we have again the same route types, different multicast group, different multicast source, but same piece. The next command we want to see is MVPN red database. And what we want to see in the database is that red has a label, a Tree-SID label, and also we can see that it's a tree rooted at R1, and it has 2 IPMC legs, which are 5 and 6. In this case, we can see the same for the blue, and also for the red, we can see the segment routing point to multi-point CAS configuration, and this is for the data MDT. Previous one was the default MDT. The data MDT has a source and a group for multicast, the leaves, which are R5, R6, and again one tree ID. So far we can understand that there has been two trees created for the red MVPN. Similarly, we're going to have two trees created for the blue MVPN. Next command in the list. That's going to be the same for the blue MVPN. And that's the default MDT for the blue. One more ID here. So that's another tree. And then that's the data MDT for the blue MVPN. Another ID. So that makes it 4 trees have been created, which are rooted at R1. Now that we have established the knowledge from the root, we can jump to the PC. Okay, now we are at the PC, which is the router 2, we can see here. And this is the controller that does all the computation for the trees in Tree-SID. So the commands we want to see here, but before we go to the commands, we should make a statement here and say that PC can be any VM or virtual iOS XR router. It doesn't have to be a hardware device. So now that we have established that, let's move to the commands. First one in the list. It's the show PC IPv4 peer. And what we see here we see the neighbors that PC is connected to. And that's 5 of them, because if you see the topology, there are 5 routers in the whole topology, except R2. And it has established states with all of them, which all of them are up and running. Here we see the PC LSPs, point to multiple point, that have been created and from the root R1. We can see the IDs that we saw before in the red and blue MVPNs. And that's another way to verify that we have 4 trees. And now we're going to type the ID 90, and what we're getting here is the LSP point to multipoint that is rooted at R1 IGP metric. This is the label of the tree. This is include any 0x1, and we have destinations R5, R6, which are the receivers. The mid node is R4, which is the transit node, and that means that if we see here, R4 is the transit node for the blue VRF. So this is the blue VRF. And we have the incoming label, the outgoing label to the receivers. And the ingress node is the root. And we can check another one. And that's going to be the 524.292. Previously we saw the 0x1, and that was the blue VRF. Now we see the 0x8, and that's the red VRF. Destination again R5, R6. That's the tree label, that's the tree ID. Transit node is R3, and that means that R3 is a node that the red VRF is going through. Ingress is the root R1, and egress are R5 and R6. That's all the information we wanted to get from PC router 2. And now we can move to the mid node, R4, in this case. And in R4, we want to check two commands. The first one is check what is going through the R4 in terms of point to multi-point policy. So we will see what is going through R4, and it is rooted at R1, and it contains a policy. In this case, we see two things. We see two labels, and that's the number we saw at PC R2 here. These labels represent the trees that have been created at and rooted at R1. In this case, these labels represent the trees that have been created. These trees are rooted at R1, both of them. They have the ID and the label. Also, these are the interfaces going through that links. And what we want to see here is discover one of these labels and see what we get. So I'm gonna type 98. So here what we get is MPLS forwarding label command. We see the labels, we see the receivers R5, R6. And that's the place that the multicast traffic will be replicated and forwarded. Thank you for watching this demo. Please go have a look at the article if you haven't done already. Check the configuration for each router if you want, and any questions you have, just let me know. Thank you.